Welcome to the Heart of Real Estate podcast with Mike McFarland and Steven Salinas with the Mortgage Mike Group. On the podcast, Mike and Steven discuss with top producing real estate agents what makes them successful, unique, and purpose-filled. Each episode holds a key to unlocking a door to financial freedom.
Welcome to another episode of the
Heart of Real Estate podcast.
Yeah. Who is this guy right here?
I'm Steven Salinas.
Yeah.
One of the podcast hosts. Got my partner here,
Mike McFarland.
Yeah. We're the Mortgage Mike Group.
Yep.
This is the Heart of Real Estate podcast. The Heart of Real Estate podcast was created to bring people together, to create a network of people that care about doing business the right way, that make an impact in their communities, and that are open to learning and sharing. You know, what makes them successful. I'm excited for this one.
Oh, yeah.
Mike, do you want to introduce our guest?
Yeah, we have a great guest today. We have Sharla Cole with us today. She's got her own team, the Sharla Cole Group. Is that right? Okay, yes. Sharla Cole Group with Keller Williams. So, Sharla, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Yeah. Tell us a little bit about yourself. I know you have an interesting background because you've been in real estate for a while, right? And you've also launched off in the last year into your own group, which is really amazing, right? So maybe just tell us a little bit about your story as you came into real estate, and then once you're in real estate, and then how you got to today.
Okay. So I started back in 2015, and at the time I was working for a nonprofit and just looking for somewhere to grow, being able to help support my family in the time of need if ever needed.
Yeah.
And so I started looking around, and I have family who's in real estate, and they
was your dad a builder? Is that right? Or
my dad was a pastor.
A pastor. Okay. All right.
But he was building churches.
He's building churches.
He's what he's doing. So yeah.
So, but my uncle was a builder.
Okay.
And my aunt was the real estate agent, and they were very influential in my desire to be in real estate. Okay. So I'm very thankful for them. And anyway, so I had the opportunity to join a team at Keller Williams and started unlicensed, very quickly got licensed, and stayed as an assistant for 2 years, just as a licensed assistant, and worked, we were bound at the hip for 2 years. I was doing everything from transactions, doing all her showings and visiting listing appointments and staging and everything like that. So I was learning. Then I stepped into buyer agent role and did that for 5 years. And then in 2022, I had the opportunity to step out on my own and create my own group.
Yeah.
And since I brought Marissa with me, who is my licensed assistant now, she is licensed. So excited for that.
That's a big deal.
And then I also have Emily, who does our marketing, and she's amazing too.
Gosh. So, and you've done this in short order. I mean, when you look at just deciding to go on your own and where you've gotten to just really in the last 12 months is pretty impressive. What was what was that cathartic moment that said, okay, I'm ready to leave the comfort of a team, right? And launch out on my own. Like I can do this on my own, right? What was that moment?
That was a difficult moment because you're scared to death about leaping out on your own. God had been speaking to me for a while about starting my own team.
Yeah. And
just knowing the right time to do it. When I did announce that I was going to go out on my own, it wasn't, I would say, it was the right time, but it didn't seem like, with all the circumstances that were going on in my team and everything, it didn't seem like it was a very good timing. But it was the time that God was telling me to do it. So I did it. And he's blessed every step from there forward.
Yeah, because you really have to, there's a lot of trust and faith that you have to have. Because usually, people would be like, oh man, I made this decision and now all these things are happening. Does this mean I made a bad decision? And you really had to kind of see through that and see, the goal that you were going to, having the faith that everything that you need is going to be provided for.
That's right.
That's
right.
It's hard. It's hard to make that leap of faith.
It's very hard. Like I said, I've been very blessed in my business. I do believe God family business, and that's how I've ran it this year, especially. And I feel like you have to do it in that order, or it doesn't work. And when I try to do it out of that order, I stumble.
Right.
So
right.
No, I think having your priorities.
That was all. That's a good podcast. That was great.
That's so good.
Just summed that up really well. That was that's so impactful. That's awesome.
One thing we like to get into is just the uniqueness of you, Sharla, and your team. Whenever if you could describe your team and maybe like unique traits about your team, what are some different characteristics that you would say?
Yeah.
They are awesome. I need a lot more descriptive words than that, but they're very good with managing me. I tend to squirrel sometimes, and Marissa is very good about, Charlotte, have you done this? Charlotte, have you done it? Staying on me, making sure that I'm organized and just staying on task. We'll have those meetings. She gets set up in the morning, give me a call. Usually it's like right at 9:00. We'll have our call in the morning, and then it's on to our day. And then we communicate throughout the day, obviously, as well. But it's getting that morning started, let's get on the same page and get rolling. She's started out with me and helped me get the business up and running. And like you said, trying to not lose what I had with a team and keeping that going and keeping it strong, but then also starting a team and everything that comes with it, and marketing. And when we started growing to where we couldn't handle all the marketing, about June, July is when Emily came in to help. And day one, literally, I was like, hey, I have a problem with my website on this. Within 10 minutes, it was fixed. I mean, I was like, oh, thank you. It was blessing. So she's just amazing. They're hard workers. They pay attention to detail, which is very important. They're great communicators. So with clients, it's great to have communication.
Yeah.
And with me, we always say that if there's anything that you don't understand, or we don't want things to go to friction. So we always, hey, there's this, if there was a problem at all, then you just want to make sure that you address it, and we get it out in the open, and it's all clear, and we could move on so that it doesn't interfere with anything else. And thankfully we haven't had any of those big moments, but communication is key. So we just want to make sure that, you just move on and do that. And they're just amazing.
Yeah. I remember when we got to talk about your team, and even coming up with kind of like the tagline of your business. You went on like a retreat.
We did.
Is that right?
Yes.
Tell us about that, because I think it's a really unique thing. I've heard of that. Like maybe going with a team to maybe do some like vision casting, brainstorming, getting the foundation right when you're starting something new. Tell us about that. I think that's a really cool thing.
So when I announced that I was, I hadn't announced it to everybody. I just announced it to Marissa because she was coming with me. She was working with me. So let me go back a little bit. Marissa worked with a builder for 6 years and did marketing and things like that. So she brought a lot to the table. She also did a lot of their staging of their homes and stuff like that. So she had a lot to bring to the table on that. And that kind of answers one of your questions previously. But with that, we were like, we need to, I let her know that I was going out on my own, and she was coming with me. And so we decided to book a weekend, and we went to a condo and just stayed overnight and brainstormed. And we went through names for the group, and what our goals were. We also talked about, just different things that were important to us and what we wanted to address and things like that. So I I think I'm getting sidetracked from the question that you had.
No,
though.
that's spot on.
The tagline.
Yeah.
So we put a lot of stuff together. Ultimately, Marissa, I have to give her credit for that one. She came up with the whole tagline, but we together putting our ideas together, it sprung from that. And so we list with purpose to make your dream purchase.
Right on.
So there is always a purpose in it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I think having purpose behind what you do, that aligns so well with this podcast, because it's the heart of real estate, right? The heart of what you do, the reason, the purpose of why you do business. Yeah, I think that's really great. And it really kind of shows, it kind of gives a little snapshot of what people are going to get when they work with you and your team. They can see that, these people care about this investment.
And the purpose of our every deal that we do is to make sure that we take care of the client first. So, obviously with real estate, it is a sales team kind of thing. However, it's all about the real estate as far as it's all about the client, and then just real estate's a part of it. So we've been able to help families and seeing them be able to move to, get transitioned, some in great situations and then some in not so great, but you get to help them through that. And that's what it's all about, and making sure you're doing the right thing and negotiating on their behalf, not your commissions and things like that. It's what's best for them.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
If you're, I remember Marissa saying that before you guys meet with the client, that there's something you guys do. Would you be open to just sharing just that
Absolutely.
idea? Yeah.
So before our listing appointments, we sometimes we're coming separate. We meet at the house. And or we're together, but we usually join up in one of the cars and pray before we go in, and we just say, give it to God, because it's God's listing, and if it's His will that we get the listing, then we will. Right. And if not, then that's okay too.
Right on.
So we want to make sure that everything that we do is for Him and that it has a purpose.
Right on.
And obviously we want to help every family that we can, but we also realize that there will be some out there that's just not for us to help.
Yeah.
You help the people that are entrusted to you. I think that's a big piece.
That's it. Right. Yeah. It's the ability to let go of those, that there's not an expectation of, I have to have this. I think we even go back to the idea of it's the give, in the midst of how do I give into the relationship? And sometimes that just is well, this just isn't the relationship. So I'm okay with that. I'm okay.
It's tough sometimes. I have to
is
say,
tough.
I mean, your personal, your flesh gets in there and you're like,
I didn't win the sale. Right.
I really want that one.
Yeah.
But, it's okay in the end. It's okay. And, something better will be sent along if that doesn't work out.
Yeah.
So.
And that's so true. Right.
It is true.
When you, so just we always run up against obstacles, right? So things show up and I'm sure you probably have had your share of obstacles, and especially in this last year. Is there time, how do you deal with obstacles, or is there maybe a story or something that is really poignant to do that just points to, man, when I'm running up against something, I know that we can deal with it this way and everything's going to be okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
Of course. So one specific obstacle that hit me this year was at the very beginning of, it's like day one of the Sharla Cole group.
Yeah.
I had a lead and had been talking to them and was rolling them over into my group with the permission of the last team that I had. And I lost the client.
Yeah.
And that was on day one. It was all with miscommunication. I'd been in communication with one of the spouses and not the other. And so one spouse was telling me one thing, but the other spouse was doing something else, not on the same page. So communication is key. Taking out of that, learn lessons, but also just to make sure, for one, communicate with both parties and things. But there again, it set me up, and I was like, it's okay. Let's not let this stop us. We're going to keep moving. I ended up closing another family member of theirs, and they were very
Wow.
excited. And, you know,
Okay.
it's okay. Just to keep pushing forward and not to let, if you do come up to an obstacle, you just keep pushing forward and you don't let it drag you down.
Right.
You have to learn how to fail forward.
Love that.
Yeah, that's so true. Cause I think, in the business that we do, there's a lot of times where we can be exposed to being like our pride can get hurt. Whether it's calling someone and they like ignore your call or they don't reply, and you lose a client. And we've lost clients before, and we've taken it personally, and we have to have the group around us to encourage us and to tell us, hey, like, it's not your fault.
Yeah.
You did what you could. Like, some things are out of your control. But yeah, you really have to stay focused, kind of just keep moving forward. It's hard because we always remember the bad thing that happens, but you have to keep moving.
And another thing, like I said, our team is very close, and they can tell when I'm having a bad day. And I've had, like even this week, Marissa's like, okay, let's stop, let's pray, because something's bothering you and you can't move on until you get this over, So it's just
That's great.
just having the whole team knowing, hey, do you need to talk? Is there something wrong? And I can do that with them. They can do that with me. And it's not, holding that in and trying to deal with it on your own.
Right.
So,
yeah. I mean, I hear this, a culture of care, and not just care for the external, the client, care for each other. Right. And I care enough to say, hey, let's just pause because something isn't right now. And let's get focused back in on what matters most. And then, but that's just caring for each other. That's family, right? That's really, really, that's really beautiful. So awesome.
And I've learned a lot of that through Keller Williams too, with their culture. Their huge culture there at Keller Williams, and it's like a big family. And I feel like I can go into the office and there's agents that are new, there's agents that are been there 20 years, and they're all willing to give and pour into you. And it's not, I don't want to talk to them about this because they're going to take my business. No, it's like, how can I help you? What can I do? And I've learned that culture, and then that's what I want to pass along to my team too.
Yeah. We've learned in the world that we live in, similar to yours, that, that it's better to have an open playbook and to share. Right. Than because the scarcity mentality of, I'm going to keep this really close, kind of just ends up isolating you. And the other thing is that with an open playbook and you share, it's not like somebody's going to steal anything. They're taking an idea that works for them and they use it. They may not use everything, or they might use everything, but they're still not going to do it the same way you do it. Right. And the techniques are proven. They work. So it's like
systems and models.
Yeah, just do the systems and plug in, and then approach it the way that you want to approach it, but don't mess with the system. Yeah.
Right. And kind of going off of that, Mike, I think like you mentioned systems and models, and sharing kind of like different systems and models. What does that look like on maybe a day-to-day? Like how does your business run for the person listening that is kind of struggling? They're lacking in those areas. How would you encourage them?
So when I go talk to the Ignite students at Keller Williams, which are the people, even if they've been with another brokerage, that they're coming in, and it's a training program that they go through. Many times I will stop in and talk to them. And what I tell them is the same thing I've learned is put yourself on the calendar first.
Okay.
And your family.
Yeah.
Because if you don't, real estate is 24/7.
Yeah.
And it'll just run your life. So always put yourself and your family, date nights, family nights, whatever it may be, take that time, put it on the calendar. So time blocking is huge. And then from there, setting boundaries. Whenever people call you, you would think if you call a doctor's office Are they going to say, oh, come right now, come right now, come right now? Let's hurry up and go, see what your sore throat is, No, they're going to tell you, I have an appointment at 4:00 today or at 2:00 tomorrow. Which one's best?
Yeah.
So they're going to give you opportunity. So I know in the beginning I was very hungry, and even though now too, I'm like very hungry, but it's like a step back, take a breath, look at your calendar. Is it going to interfere with something? Are you bumping your family out of something, to make that appointment? Can you show them after or before or the next day? How urgent is it? I know during COVID, if you didn't see it within 6 minutes, you didn't have, you didn't have an offer in. But there are exceptions, always to the rule, but just setting your boundaries would be one of my very top thing. Another is huge is just communication, making sure that you communicate, one to your family, and then making sure that you're communicating to your clients and everybody on your team and around, so that, there's expectations set and what you're doing.
Yeah. I love that you schedule like personal and family on your calendar. I think most people schedule maybe just work, and then they kind of just squeeze in personal or family. It kind of gets put on. It shows their priorities, doesn't it? Like it.
Yeah.
I think every time that you start, you always say like, God, family, everything else. And even when you're describing your processes, like it's cool to see like your priorities. It really comes out in like how you're describing your processes, because you live it, right?
Yeah.
So like morning routine is get up and I journal every morning. I received from Marissa, I received a thankful book. So it gives me 5 slots with some lines underneath each. So every morning, write 5 things that I'm thankful for. And then usually what I journal about is health, business, personal, and I may rotate it up. It may be all about business one day, all about health one day, a mixture of all of them kind of thing. But I have a journal for that. And then I also read daily devotions, going through a daily Bible devotion right now. So try to give myself an hour or 45 minutes to sit and do that. And then this year I'm slowly working in the exercise into that.
Yeah.
But just taking that time in the morning, it's like win the morning, win the day. So it's all about mindset. You get your mindset ready and then hop onto the appointments and the calls and things. So,
and it makes you better for that. It makes you better for the meetings, and
it equips you
everything.
It equips you to handle the day. Yeah, that's so cool.
I definitely can take a piece of that and apply it. I think just going back to your priorities, going back to your mindset, and having that discipline of waking up early, which is tough. There's days where you're probably like, I can't do this.
And there are days, I have to admit, I'm not a perfect person. No one is. So there are, I would say out of a month time, there might be 3 days out of the month that but on Saturdays, I usually, if I'm going to open houses or whatever, I'll still get up early on a Saturday morning so I can have that time. I can feel it when I don't.
Oh yeah.
So it's worth getting up to do it.
It's worth it.
Yeah. Stephen and I've been doing, ironically, we did this book called the 5 a.m. Club right around the same time.
Yeah. Which I'm more of the 5:30 a.m.
Yeah, I'm more. I'm officially 5:20. I'm just gonna
nice.
5:20.
6 to 6:30.
Yeah.
Whatever club. Whatever club you're in. You just get in the club.
5:00 is too hard.
It's hard.
And I prefer the 6:30. I'm gonna put that out there. On Saturdays, it's gonna be 7. But yeah, just the space of because for me it was just right after Thanksgiving, and I was like, I'm leaning into this. But the idea to clear my mind, to pray, meditate, exercise, stretch, to think things that my body and my soul need. Man, I know I feel the difference when I'm not doing that for a day. And it's like one of those things that I just crave. It's like, okay, I'm gonna get up and do this because it makes me feel good, and I'm able to take on the day and know that, all right, I'm good. I did that part that's really important, and it hasn't been pushed off because of work or whatever other priority that wants to get ahead of it. So
Mhm.
you mentioned something that I want to go back to, and that because I thought this is really insightful for you. Because right as you started your group with Marissa, you guys are meeting, right? You have roughly a 9 o'clock meeting every day where you just come together. Where did you learn that? I mean, I would say that's not something I would hear most people just naturally being inclined to have a quote unquote team meeting or a group meeting, right at the beginning.
So again, back to Keller Williams.
Yeah.
Our elite team or
Mhm.
our ELT team, the leaders, they have a stand up every morning at 9 o'clock.
Got it.
And that is something that I had desired. You don't know what's going on throughout the day unless you meet.
Yeah.
And so initially we were meeting in person. So that was great, with COVID and just different things that going on. Or sickness or travel or whatever, we got to where it was just, okay, let's at least get on the phone, via FaceTime, Zoom, or just a phone call.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, and it kind of goes, which one of my goals this year is to stay on top of a 411.
Okay.
And setting those goals and reviewing them every week.
Mm-hmm.
But that was the idea of having the morning calls or the morning meetings.
What's a 411?
So you take, and it kind of goes back to your like getting up at 5:20. What is it? What is the one thing that you have to do to get up at 5:20?
Okay.
You have to track it back to, is it, okay, I just, I set my alarm for 5:20 and I get up.
Mm-hmm.
Well, what if you went to bed at midnight?
Right.
Okay. So is it, I have to go to bed at a certain time so that I can get up at a certain time so that I can do this at a certain time?
Mm-hmm.
Like what is it? You have to backtrack to that one thing that is going to, and so you put that in to your 411. So it's like, it's a goal that you want to meet.
Mm-hmm.
And then, so let's take it for business. So if I want to have 5 listings or a month.
Yeah.
Okay. Then what is it that I need to do or, it's actually annual, monthly, weekly, daily.
Got it. Okay.
Before.
Okay.
And then you take it 111. So what is your annual goal? Break it down to what do you have to do monthly? What do you have to do weekly? Then what do you have to do daily?
Got it.
To get that annual goal.
Got it.
So
got it.
Okay. That's great.
I love it.
Yeah, you really,
the one thing.
Yeah, it goes back to the one thing.
Yeah.
Because then you start to think about, okay, if I'm going to wake up early, I need to go to bed earlier. And if I'm going to do that, and I know maybe I want to have 30 minutes or an hour to do something I just personally enjoy, like maybe watching a show or something. And if I want to do that, I need to schedule time with my family and, have a dinner and, get home at a certain time or, work hard during the day. So, you can leave on time. Then, there's that's so true. You can really keep going back and keep thinking about it.
Yep. What about the one? Ask you about the one.
Yes. So I know we're starting 2023. And I know you're big on vision. I think you're about to do a vision boarding.
I'm about to do a vision board class.
Awesome.
Right on.
Actually, tomorrow morning we'll be doing a vision board workshop.
So cool. And so
I get it. You inspired me. Because
Okay.
I did vision boarding with my kids. So so it's really cool. It's just like, I can do that. So yeah, with my kids and my daughter was really fast. She got hers done super quick. My wife is still working with hers, and my son just needs to put his pictures on the board. I got mine done, by the way.
Awesome. So you'll have to send a picture to me.
Well,
so then I can follow up and hold you accountable.
You got
to
it. There you go. I will forward it to you. It's on my phone. So
that's awesome.
Well, I do know there's I think there's a scripture that says without vision people perish, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's so true. What is your word of the year? What is the vision for the year for 2023?
So I have been contemplating my word for the year. What is my word going to be? And so last year it was about being intentional and had to be really intentional about the things that I did. This year is about grow. So my word for 2023 is grow. I would love to grow my business more. I would love to grow myself more, and just personally Also more as a better networker. I've had the opportunity to become the president of a BNI, which is Business Networking International. And so that's given me opportunity to grow. I was selected to be on the ALC at Keller Williams, which is the Agent Leadership Council, and you have to be in the top % to be able to even be interviewed for that. So that's a great accomplishment, but it's also giving me the opportunity to grow, be around people who are higher than me that can pull me up, but also help me be able to teach the ones below to kind of help, pull them up as well.
Right.
So, just want to grow.
Yeah.
That's really cool. Yeah. Cause I can tell that you're a learner and a teacher, and I love you grow by learning from someone above you, but you grow by teaching as well the people under you. That's really cool.
I learn most whenever I'm teaching someone.
I think that's a study where like you like master by teaching. I think, if you're teaching someone something, you just think about it in a different way, or it just helps ingrain it even more by doing that.
Right.
It does.
Well, that, and then being around people that think higher raises your thinking capacity. You think at a different level. So when you're in the midst of the Agent Leadership Council, right, you're thinking higher, and you're also teaching, which is reinforcing skills as well, right? And you're reaching down and saying, hey, you can do this too.
Yep.
I'm thinking here, and you can think here as well.
Right. And it's great just to have those other agents in the office who are, Charlie, you can do this, and mentoring and, the multi mega teams, or mentoring the mid teams, and then they're growing, and then they're willing to reach out and mentor me. So it's all just down the line.
Right on.
That's really awesome.
Well, it's community, right?
Absolutely. Huge community.
Community is so important. Okay. Lastly, I love this part of the podcast because this is like, it's where you get to share, like some words of wisdom with the people listening, and also, it's a great time to reflect too. So I want you to imagine you were invited to a big conference or something, right? Maybe I like to call it the realtors of the world, or business owners of the world. And they're like, Sharla, we would love to have you on. I love what you're doing. You just got to briefly share, with the business owners of the world or realtors of the world, a couple, maybe 2 or 3 points of something that you think is foundational for your business. If you didn't do it, it would just fall apart. What would you share with them? And what would you share?
I would say you have to be authentic.
Okay.
You have to be yourself. If you're trying to be someone else, you're not gonna make it. So even though you aspire to be as high, or like someone else in a way, you have to be authentic and true to yourself. You have to be true to yourself. You have to be trustworthy. People need to know, like, and trust you. And if you can show that, the compassion, and they can know, like, and trust you, then they're going to want to do business with you. They're going to want to pass business to you. And it all comes back to being authentic.
Yeah.
Do it in your own way. Like you said earlier, there's systems and models. So you take those, listen to the systems and models that work, because people have tried them. You don't have to reinvent the wheel. Go with those, but add your own flavor with it, and just be authentic.
I love it. I imagine just everyone standing up and clapping. After that. That's so good. I think that gives people the freedom just to be themselves, and just realize everybody is unique in their own way, and everyone's created in their own way to do things a certain way, and it's okay to be unique, and you don't have to be just like the person that you admire. You can be your own person, and I think that's really cool.
Awesome.
I love it.
Cool. Anything else you want to share with us that that you can think of? I mean,
I'm just
We're
very
just let you
thankful
go.
for y'all and the opportunity and just being able to meet with y'all and knowing that there are, like-minded
Mhm.
business owners out there that want to care about people and grow their business and
Yeah.
reaching out to help other people. What y'all are doing here is great. I admire you. So thank you.
Awesome. Thank you, Sharla.
Just made our day.
Yeah, made my day.
Made my day.
Yeah, and
Thank you, Charlotte.
So,
that's the goal.
That is it.
For the people listening,
Mhm.
this is a training and resource, and also an invitation to come together and just to share ideas and do business the right way. So
Yeah.
if you're listening, we would love to hear from you. If you'd like to know anything about Sharla Cole and the Sharla Cole Group, if you want to continue the conversation with them, we're going to tag the group below. Feel free to reach out, and y'all have a great day.
Yeah. See you on the next episode.
See you next time.
Thank you for listening to the Heart of Real Estate podcast. If you found this episode thought-provoking and helpful, do us a favor and share it with 2 of your friends. Also, feel free to leave any comments or reviews. And if you want to learn more about the Mortgage Mike Group, reach out. We'd love to connect.